So unless you're painting the same things over again, or if you're composing the same music over and over again, or writing the same novel over again, things will things will take twice as long as you think they will. Things will cost twice as much, and things will take twice as long as you think they will. Now, again, not every time is this true, but it's often true. Like, I've taken on assignments and I forgot that, oh, the last time I did that, I encountered something that I didn't see ahead of time. It might have been some aspect of a painting or an illustration that I hadn't quite done before. Like, I can't put it into words what it would be. Like, there was one painting I did last summer for a client, an oil painting on metal, and the background had to be white. So I sprayed it with enamel primer, white, and then it had areas, I isolated areas, vignettes, all on this canvas, like a 3-foot tall canvas. And they had to be painted, and they were regions of figurative art, let's say. The problem with this was that because the background had to stay white, I would be painting on an area, then inadvertently I would look at what I did and go, oh, I smeared some paint across the white, even if it was slight or if it was a fingerprint, because there was no background but white, and it had to be white. There was no sky or rocks or anything. It had to all be white and stay clean looking. I had to create a system of working where I moved across the surface, because I'm left-handed, so I had to work from right to left. And I had to cover whatever I wasn't working on with paper, like doing surgery. I had to isolate everything around the immediate vignette and only have that little area of the painted vignette exposed, so I would not drag paint across the surface. But it was uncanny. Like, I would drag paint across the surface and it would appear way somewhere not related to where I was working. And it would be, how did that get dirty? But I had never done a painting like that before. And it drove me up the wall, because it took days and days and days of this. And it was like, I still couldn't get it perfect, because I can't, but I still had problems with smearing or having stray paint appear. It would appear from nowhere. So it was this nightmare painting. I was so glad it was finished. I was like, I can't believe this painting is finished. And there were, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there were 9 vignettes, and it was a vertical. It was a vertical canvas. I think it was like 36 or 32. No, I think it was 36 by 24 or something. Metal. So I learned to paint on metal, and it was oil. And oil paint actually is a pleasure for me. I hate acrylic. I don't like acrylic paint. I use acrylic only as a base, like as a background, and I paint oil over it. Because you can't paint acrylic over oil. It doesn't work. But the acrylic acts as a gesso, and I can create a skyscape on a Broadway and then paint oil detail over it. But I can't stand acrylic paint, really. Oil's much easier, more forgiving. But that's an example of taking an assignment thinking, oh, it's just 6. No, it was 9 areas of vignette on a white background. And I was like, sure, I'll do that. It's just 9 areas. But then I was like, wow. Once I got into doing it too, the amount of detail in every vignette was astonishing too. So it was like doing 9 paintings. And I had to use a magnifying glass on some of it. I had to mount a magnifying glass on a C-stand arm and put it over areas of the painting, and then paint and then the magnifying glass was here, and then I would paint like this to get, it was, it was like, it was intense, and I was so glad when it was finished. But it was finally finished, and I was like, wow. I had no idea it would take that long. Because I didn't see. It was like leaping into a concrete pool, thinking there's water in it. Oh, there's a pool there. I'll just dive into the pool. Well, no. So I don't paint the same thing every time. And I take on lots of different things. And almost every time I do something, I encounter something different and new that I didn't see, I didn't quite anticipate. And that's part of the fun. But when there's a deadline and when things are in line to be done and I have to get them finished, it creates a time management issue, and it creates a sleeping issue, lack of it to get it done, and it's a frustration issue. And once I'm finished, it's like, wow, I'm a hero today, and then that lasts a few hours, and then I'm past that, and then the next one comes. So things don't always take the time I think they'll take. They often end up taking twice as long. I'm like, okay, here it is again. But that's the, I was going to say test of a true artist, but that sounds really stupid. That's the test of commitment there, is how committed am I? How skilled am I? How willing am I to keep doing this? It's things like this, though, that determine whether you're going to do it or not. Because these things don't deter me. Like I wouldn't go, oh no, well this is the end of my whole career. It's not like that. It's like, no, this is part of doing it. Like to climb Mount Everest, you have to suffer. The people who do that, I don't see how anyone has any fun doing that. Reaching the top is the goal. But going up there can be miserable, can be miserable. And there's moments, I'm sure, of bliss and pleasure and all this. It's a intensive trial, so that's what it is. Things will often take much longer, sometimes twice as long than you could ever think. All right, I hope that was helpful. Have a good day.